Welcome to Warblog. Today I'm going to look at the same game I did last time, but I did it before and there was something not quite right, but I fixed it. It's still not perfect, but I'll explain. The Eastern Bingol Province. I was going to put Bingol Province in there, but couldn't be bothered. I fixed a lot of other things, so it's not as I didn't do any work. But to reduce the strength, so they're now, instead of being special forces, they're Gendarmerie Special Operations, plus some regular police, and plus I gave them some drones. There's nothing to say they had drones, but I imagine that they would have. In fact, rereading it, Turkish forces, including Gendarmerie Special Operations, Special Forces and Police, launched an operation in Eastern Bingol. There's nothing in there to suggest, I don't know where I got the idea, but there's nothing in there to suggest that it's air mobile, which is obviously what I put these in as. Because if it's in Turkey, you might have thought that it would just be them driving around. So maybe I've got the wrong end of the stick. It's an interesting operation in that sense. Let's see, look, there's a helicopter, but I don't think this is a real picture. So imagine they're going in by helicopter. Turkey launched new anti-terror operations in Eastern Bingol Province involving up to 1,000 personnel. Yeah, look at that. Operation Trap 9 carrier aimed at neutralizing terrorists hiding throughout Bingol. Some 68 operational teams from Gendarmerie Special Operations, Special Forces and the police and security units have been established for the action. It's all in gibberish. No, it doesn't really sort of say. Okay. That's interesting. What could this be? Oh, it's a minute video. So I'm sort of thinking, what could this let's redo there? They're gonna blow it up or something. It's the GIF. Anyway. I've done it the way I've done it. They're being airdropped somewhere. They're not paratrooping, so they're landing by being air delivered. Now, the problem I had before was if I were to land in this place, or this place, and there were units in it, nothing would happen. But now they appear. The secondary issue I had was when I landed down here, because when I did it was for the blah blah blah, I can't, using the inability to speak. Basically, because I wrote the air insertion rules when I had smaller maps, the particular map reference index array that I was using only had the range for the smaller maps. Now this would have been off of the regular map because the regular map's only about this big. And so when I landed here, when it chose the random location, they were all appearing up here. Now it was wrong, but you never saw that because I didn't do the video. So, but I fixed that now as well. But you don't get any fire when you're coming in. But I have qualified that with something else to justify it, and I'm not making a lot of sense at the moment because it's really late. But basically, when you land, say in here, you don't get any flak, which is fair enough. But it's the way it works in the other sort of games. In the sense, well, what I'm saying is the benefit is the same as what happens in the regular scenarios. But if I land in here and the guy pops up here, I don't have any movement, and then he can then attack me next turn. But you can do that normally anyway. So I'm still struggling as to whether or not I want to do that. I just feel that there should be some inbound AA fire, but we haven't got it at the moment, so it's almost justifiable and people might not notice. But anyway, so now what I'm going to do this time is, what I've learned, or what I figured out is, I might as well just go for the objectives, because those are the things that are easiest to not so much to take. See, there's one there. They always appear there. I'm getting suspicious of that. We do have to visit all the towns because there's possibility of them being in there, but taking these out is sort of has an actual effect. Interesting that there's no okay. Well, we've got two insurgents there, which is a problem because they can attack. Now he'll be worth 6 and they'll be worth 10 times 1%, so they'll be worth 11. So it'll only be a 1-to-1, but let's knock that down a bit. There's some helicopters and some drones. Oh, we lost our drone. Pesky PKK attacked our drone. It's interesting when you lose them early. 0 damage. The drone did more damage than the helicopter. And this guy. And the police. I put the police in so that we can give them something to do. But they don't move very fast, do they? And they won't be able to move because it's stacking. Okay, so that's that. Now the PKK have something to do now. Might as well attack them. Should be a 1-to-1 really, I guess. Oh, I failed. Right. Now, the reason I put the police in there is because it says it's a police operation. But what I think, in addition to that, is that the police can perform a different role, and that is taking out these cities, so to speak. Right, so as you can see, I chose to go to these, but they have got reduced movement. Let's take this place out. Ooh, that's not good. Right, do we want to be... we've got to deal with that. I think we need to attack down here. We need to be aggressive down here. So what do we do with our air power? We should be okay here because he's on a 3.5 and he's on a 4, so they're going to be fairly weak. He's fairly fresh. I think we should go helicopter, helicopter. Helicopter, helicopter, drone, drone. So he's getting a helicopter and a drone. Losing that drone early was bad news. A helicopter there. And the drone here. I think it's interesting that we're given the choice of prioritizing where we do those air attacks. Okay, so we won there. Let's go for this guy because he's on 4, so we should get a 7-to-1 here. Yep. And we're still able to attack this unit. And we routed it. But here, could be in trouble. Do we want to go for this big stack? Not really. And push this one back. Quite likely. A DR. That was just a 4-to-1. Do we want to go for the big odds against that? So it could be a 2-to-1. We could lose that battle. I'm going to leave him there because 2 units against 1 is still only a 1-to-1, as we know down here. I mean, that could have gone so differently. We could have had the upper hand down here, 3 units versus this, but we lost that battle and we've lost a unit, so I think we can hold here. It's better to hold than it is to try and do something where we're quite likely to lose. He's moved, but let's bring him forward. Okay. Right. PKK turn. What can they do? Maybe a 2-to-1. Oh, they've won a battle. The PKK have won a battle. All these are interesting points, because you've got to sort of think, well, should we maybe land them all together? Because that makes the mission a bit of a disaster, really. And that's PKK turn. So I could attack. A 1-to-1. Should I do it? That's the question. Because he's depressed 2, which is 0.6 of a strength point down, so that'd be 2.4. It'll be doubled in hills to 4.8, which means I'll get a bonus of 5, so it'll be a 1-to-1. Which means a 1, 2, or 3 I'll get a DR. 4, 5, or 6 it's an exchange or something like that. But I could possibly get an AR. Let's go for it, because it's a cold-blooded short war. Yep, I got a DR, so that was worth it. They've been really pounded. The Battle of Kigi. They lost down here, they could have done well. Well, it's clear that the road is a lot faster to go along. Well, again, in the interesting concept of making interesting decisions, I think we're going to have to commit all our air power to this situation. because of the disaster that's happened there. Here, I think we can afford to attack that and probably destroy it. Here, he's gone across the river, which is a bit of a problem, but we might be able to resolve that quite simply. Oh, he's still alive. And he's out of movement. So, we've got to be able to destroy him now. Yep. Good night. Oh, look at that. Well, we're not going to be attacking that position. So, up here, let's pound this. Helicopter, helicopter, drone, drone. So, helicopter and drone on this guy. Things don't have that many moves with the drones. I think they're sort of almost at their limit. I think we've only got about 2 turns left on them. He's going to sit there and recover. The question is, do I go into Adakli? Because I haven't been in there yet. If there are units in there, we'll awaken the Kraken. So in theory I should avoid it. But because we're playing a game, I feel like tempting fate. Yep. I sort of figured that something like that might happen just because we've had so many other places that nothing's happened. Wow. Right. I'm going to do this as the last turn because I've got to go to sleep. But we are definitely trying. That's the PKK. They can sort of stay there. Did we not move him last time? We missed out on an opportunity there. Or I missed out on a movement I could have done. Right. So the PKK I've got. He's at 3. Well, let's go for it. Remembering I did say that in theory I shouldn't go into this town. and I think that if I was playing it properly, I would have not gone in there. If it was a competitive, I was playing against someone else, I wouldn't have, but I just wanted to see what would happen. We should get 2 attacks out of this. Oh, an exchange. But he has been well and truly wiped out. Right, I'm going to leave it at that. I think it's a subtle game, and it needs to be treated with a sense of subtlety, really. That's not really what I wanted to say, but what I mean is, you know, every decision needs to be sort of contemplated, and that's where the value of the exercise comes into play, I think. You know, by considering this situation across the river and the bridge and the fuller implications of it, considering, you know, the potential of these police units to actually go into these places, you know, so say, well, are they strong enough, you know, and is this real? You know, what can we use them for? Considering things like, you know, the risk analysis of sending these units on their own, not so much at this end of the equation, but splitting them up. I mean, what happens if he got into trouble there? You know, how much trouble could he have got? He could have landed there, maybe he's been surrounded by a few more. We pretty much know there aren't any in here, but we don't know that for sure, and I don't know that for sure, because there are a few odd places. But mainly it's where you might expect them to be. But you know, but here, essentially we landed in this place where we activated some units, I think, landed open. We moved into here, we activated a few more, and we moved into there and activated even more. We haven't even moved into there yet, so I mean, that would be, I think all we need to do is another turn, have him move into there, fire up a whole bunch more. So much so, let's just do it. I'm not going to do the rest of the turn. No, there's no units in there. Well, that's that anyway. I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want to do any more. But this is an interesting game. I just wish I could get the inbound fire sorted out on that, and maybe get my head around how to make it more, I don't know, more, not so much of a simulation, more meaningful, I think, more sort of, you know, to give an angle on both sides. Because I think the thing to bear in mind about this is actually in Turkey, Bingol Province. This is not in Syria. This is not the same sort of degree of conflict that they've got going on in northern Iraq and, you know, the Syrian parts. You know, I don't think they're hiding out in the mountains with, you know, the same sort of anti-tank missile systems, surface-to-air missile systems. I think they've got them, but, you know, it's not as ready. You know, it's basically within the confines of a lawful state where law and order exists, and this is an example of it being enforced. But it's interesting how it works. You know, that's why I've sort of, well, maybe I shouldn't have put them down actually to 3-3-4. I just thought it would make a bit more sense. But yeah, okay, well that's that. Nice, be there.